Hey guys, welcome to another video brought to you by Total Controls Traders. Market making new all-time highs. Let's get right into it. Alright, today was a crazy day in the market. As mentioned before, no red flags. There was a slight rejection on this previous one-to-one extension, and the anticipation was that we're going to see a grind up. So we saw a grind up, and the next target is at 44.90, just under the 4,500. Today was a little bit of a interesting day, a roller coaster, let's say that. Let's take a look at today. So early, right at the open, or before the open, it started dipping, and then right at the open there was a big dip. So on the 30 minutes, if we were to look at the 30 minute, it was a little bit of a cause for concern. It was big bear volume, upkept even at 8 o'clock. That 30-minute candle at 8 o'clock, the volume of the bear was almost equivalent to the 7:30 candle. However, where you can see this slight sign that the dip buying is going to happen through the rest of the day was that 8:30 candle. You see this volume, the bull volume, outweighing both the 7:30 as well as the 8 o'clock. That was a sign that the dip was going to be bought. And then from there, straight buying for the next 5 hours, going into the close, forming a 30-minute bull flag. And right at the close, oh no, it was around 12 o'clock, I believe. Yeah, 12 o'clock, we made new all-time highs in the market. So 44.90, very close now. We are going to be looking for a reaction at 44.90. Now, there is a little bit of a frustration going on for majority of the traders, because we are seeing SPX making new all-time high, SPY making new all-time high, and Dow making new all-time high. But a lot of the tickers that we look at, that we play, a lot of people that play out there are not making new all-time highs, let alone they're not even bouncing that well, to be honest. Now the reason for that is, if you look at NAS, we're not making new all-time high, as well as RUS is actually fairly bearish. So with NAS, what we were anticipating on the break of this trend line was a back test of this trend line, which we got yesterday, Friday, and then from there we saw a big dip today. But similar idea to SPY, SPX, the dip got bought. This was a little bit harder to tell on NAS specifically versus SPX. If you look at NAS, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, all three candles had very similar high bear volume. And then coming 9 o'clock, which is later than SPX, the dip started getting bought. So this kind of bear volume is a little bit concerning, and we are seeing a stall at that previous all-time high zone again. Right now we're forming a 30-minute bull flag. Gonna need to see confirmation relatively early. So on this kind of chart on the daily, RSI is cooling off. The good thing, the one thing I like about the NAS chart is, after this huge run, two bear divergence on the daily, two strong bear divergence on the daily, and yet bears were unable to follow through. So that's what I like about NAS, and I do see, based on a few specific big hitters, the blue chips, I do believe that there is going to be new highs coming on the NAS. And based on this last higher low, higher high, and the higher low, we will be looking at a target of 15,475. So no real concern on NAS yet. As for RUS, there is a little bit of a concern. We are still hanging out in that two zones, just range bound in between there. So since February of this year, we have been range bound ever since. High, low, broke out a little bit. So depending on how you draw the zone, you could draw it up here. You could also make it bigger, but I sort of like where the actually, let's see. One, two, three. So let's try this. What if we draw it to here? Yeah, that actually might work out better. Anyways, regardless of how you draw it, I like my zone here because this is what I like to call the all-time high zone. The all-time high target 2368, and then the real body of it, that's how I draw the all-time high zone. And from here, a little bit of concern on RUS, inverse head and shoulders, getting shut down, unable to see follow through, rejecting from that GP yet again. So now short-term wise, we are seeing somewhat of a range bound again in between 2253 to 2192. Now today we saw a dip, a big dip. It was 30-minute overbought, oversold, already oversold, huge bull divergence, 4 hours almost oversold. So from here, if we were to see any lower prices come going into that zone again, slow grind down, we will see oversold on the 4 hour for RUS. As long as the way it stands right now, as long as this shoulder right here, 2168.2 does not break, I don't think there is any real cause for concern yet. It's a little bit of a red flag. We did break bear on this wedge after rejection from GP again. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches on the GP. GP must go. From here, I would expect strong support. That does not work. Okay, so there's no GP or anything around here. It's above the 0.5. There's no real fib support around where we're bouncing from, aside from previous supports. So we did break under. Even this 2192 is not that strong of a support. So I can see on the 4 hours just slowly grind down. Based on the oversold, I don't imagine us to break under this outer wedge lower trend line. All right. Let's take a look at, it's been a while since we looked at the market. So let's do a deep dive. See if there's any major red flags on our indicators. Leading indicators. So US, no real cause for concern. There is a bull move that started. Did not break bull over this previous high yet. If we started breaking bull and coming and broke over this area, I would think that is starting to look like cause for concern for the market. Okay. So cause for concern would be up here for the market, and real bull would be breaking. Real bull for the market would be breaking down under 91.75. Previous support, almost resistance, and then support here again, support here again. Bulls for the market gonna want to see US dollars break bear under 91.75. Bears for the market gonna want to see a break above this zone. Wow. So the US 10-year is actually working out exactly how we anticipated. Last time we looked at this chart. Last time we looked at it, it was right here. Anticipation was a comeback to backtest this trend line before a next leg down. Now this next leg down has started, but oh wow, it's so close. It didn't actually touch that trend line. Yeah, it didn't actually touch that trend line, but it was close enough. On a bond, you know, it's the charts for the bonds won't respect trend lines us closely. As you can see, broke under here, and then it sort of just chopped around the trend line. But it's more so a general idea. So this actually worked out a lot closer than what bonds usually do on their charts. So with this bear move, anticipation is at least the GP. We might have touched it already, and it looks like we did. Almost. So we almost touch a GP. That would be the minimal for bears. And there's going to be a strong support around this area, the previous low. What I would anticipate going forward on US 10-year bond is, depending on where we bounce from, if we're to bounce from GP, there's a chance that we could start breaking bull over these two trend lines again. So with US 10 years, there is not really any major concerns showing for the market yet. All right, VIX, no pop. Gold. Now, last time we talked about gold, mentioned that, I think it was on this day, because we missed this touch of the major support, that I mentioned that there's trading opportunity in here, but not a whole lot. So we did see a bounce from that major support, and I mentioned that I wanted to see a base before taking this next trade again. You can see previous resistance, lots of supports here, and then support forming bull divergence support again, and this was the trade that we made money on. And then from there, bear divergence after the dip, and we came back to the support, and we're seeing a bounce again. Now we're seeing slight rejection on this upper trend line of the previous channel, this channel right here. So we are seeing a slight rejection, but we're gonna need another day or two to confirm. As for the support line, I don't see much of a reaction around there. Some supports here, one here. Yeah, I wouldn't really call this. Okay, lots of resistances from back there. All right, yeah, give it another couple more days. If gold start going bearish, that is a good sign for the market. Okay, so no major concerns on the market overall. And 44.90 remains the target over this week, next week. Yeah. Okay, let's get into the tickers. First one, Bitcoin. We're going to cover Bitcoin every single video going forward, at least for the time being, because it can be used. Some people do use it as an indicator for the market. Some people also really like the volatility. I do also understand that there's a lot of you that trade Bitcoins out there. So let's make sure that we cover those for you on a daily basis. All right, so Bitcoin, last time we saw was a bounce started from the 0.382. So we knew that it was going to be strong. Now we're seeing a reaction on the GP. Two rejections already. Daily bear divergence, the lack of follow through. So right now it's forming a bull flag. Have not lost the daily 8 yet. The anticipation would be to lose daily 8 and come back for a back test at least. So over here with the trend line, anticipation would be something like this. A touch, probably another touch on the GP, which will then form a daily bear divergence, break bear. That would be the anticipation for Bitcoin. So whether if you're playing bull or bear, the opportunity is still there, because even if we were to measure this 10% drop and 14%, almost 15% to the upper side. So that would be the anticipation for Bitcoin. Play it how you wish. This is what I'll be looking for. if I was trading Bitcoin. Next is HIVE. Immediate backtest, 1-to-1 extension target, and we saw rejection, and now we're losing the daily 8 on HIVE on decreasing bear volume. Bull volume is not really existent either. Earnings got pushed out to now confirmed September 1st. Due to the loss of this daily 8, I would anticipate a back test of this previous zone, whether it's going to be the top of the zone or the lower part of the zone. Give it a couple more days, should see further bearish action. All right, next is Apple. Let's get into the exciting ticker now. Apple, the only yeah, I believe it's the only one that's on my charts that is green today. Oh no, Amazon is too, which is next actually. So Apple, very strong. We saw bounce from GP, huge move into new all-time high, stall around all-time high, and this was actually a weekly bull pennant. Bull flag, bull pennant, either one works. So weekly bull flag, bull pennant, never lost that weekly 8, and now we're seeing confirmation, continuation into new highs, breaking over the 150 today. The first target is 151.94. And when was that drawn from? That was drawn from this low to that high to that low. Huge long-term wedge. Saw a break, so we should at least see 151.94. Following that would be 158.20, and that one is drawn from the most recent move. So low to the high to the higher low. Bigger picture wise on the weekly, since it's a weekly bull flag. So we're watching from this to here to here. Ultimately, the target would be 158.20. The first target, 1-to-1 extension target, 158.20 is what I'm looking at for Apple. It may not be a smooth ride going upward. Should see some sort of reaction around 152 and then sideways, or come back to back test this wedge upper trend line before a next leg move up. So from here, anticipation. Tomorrow makes sense. Back test before move up. Okay, next one is Amazon. So Amazon chart is looking very nice now. Huge gap down on earnings. Slow bleed, daily bear flag, confirmation, lack of follow through into reversal candle, big bull volume. I really like what Amazon chart is looking like now. From here, my anticipation would be a gap fill from here. It'll take some time. So personally, I'm in common shares, not trading options on this. Gonna need to see follow through first. At least the first step we're looking at is breaking bull over this daily 8, daily 80 MA. But I really like this candle, really like the volume. Amazon, great opportunities. Even with just the gap fill, we're looking at 35.80. Next is PLTR. So PLTR is one of the top watches and will remain top watch going forward. Huge gap on earnings. Big bull volume came in. Kathy bought and Kathy added to her positions as well. So we did see a bull break over this long-term wedge. Depending on how you draw it, I mean, this lower trend line, you could probably start it over here instead. So essentially it's 1, 2, 3 touches, and upper trend line is 1, 2, well, multiple here, 3 touches as well. So with this gap up on earnings, big bull volume. Following that, we anticipated to see inside bars. So we saw inside bar depending on which one you're comparing to, inside bar the next day, and today technically is inside bar to this big candle as well. Immediate back test of the upper trend line of the wedge. I really like this chart. Haven't lost that 88 yet. Even if we were to come back to backfill to fill this gap, let's see where that it would line up with the GP. So even if we were to come back to fill the gap, lines up with GP, I would add there. Anticipation, another couple more days of sideways action, waiting for that 88 to catch up before a next leg move up. Next is Roku. Okay, so Roku is now moved to top watch. If you look at this chart, every single time it touched this lower trend line, it bounced, or this trend line, it bounced. Pandemic low, that's the beginning of the trend line. First touch, bounce. Second touch, bounce. Third touch, bounce. Almost touch. Fourth, fifth, six touches on that trend line with follow through already. And now we're getting very close to that area. Not to mention GP lining up with that area. So have an alert ready. Make sure it's on your top watch. Once it gets to that 340 area, would be a immediate buy. Not seeing the reversal candle yet. We are extended from a 88. The 80 is getting near that oversold. 4 hours I do believe is oversold already. Yeah, 4 hours oversold already. So if we're to make a high, lower high and then lower again, we will see 4 hour, maybe not the 4 hour. We might see 4 hour bull divergence on that lower low. Hourly, no bull divergence yet, so we're actually looking good. 4 hours, make a new low, give us a bull divergence. It'll take a 2 to 3 days to work out, because you're gonna need a few more candles. 1, 2, 3 bullish candles. 1, 2, so 5. I would say about 4 or 5, maybe more candles for this bull divergence to form. But then that would be the opportunity, the amazing entry that you should be watching for. Roku should be on your top watch. All right, and one more that I wanted to cover for today would be DKNG. So very similar to PLTR. We've discussed this before. Can never remember the name. Gaterin? Inverse, regardless. Inverse W formation, inverse butterfly formation, Gantner formation, I believe that's what it's called. Saw follow through, broke over the long-term wedge, this upper trend line of the long-term wedge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more. Yeah, 7 rejections from this trend line, and we broke bull. Immediate back test, somewhat lost it. Back test to this point, 382. And then saw a next leg move up, gapped up on earnings, immediate gap fill, never lost that 88. Today is a little bit of a concern because we did lose that 88 slightly, but the dip got bought, saving that 88. So right now, the daily trend has reversed to bulls, lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high, and we did break over this key resistance. So from here, anticipation, we might see a little bit lower. Take a look here. Yeah, so we might see a little bit lower. Back test this previous resistance here, here as well. So around 50. If we do get there, it's a little bit more bearish than I like, but that would be a buy zone. All right, so I'm gonna keep today's video short. That's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to click thumbs up, like, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. If you know anyone that benefits or could benefit from our videos or the content we provide, please do consider sharing our channel with them. That would be very much appreciated. All right, take care guys. See you in the next video.